youth groups, and labor unions. The Horn of Africa countries are underdeveloped, as you know, and the socio-economic system are often rooted in exploitative relations. The economic advantage of the ethnic in power of the rest escalates the difference among the whole societies, which usually result in conflicts and crises. The best example is Ethiopia. In the past 2 decades, Ethiopia especially, hundreds of thousands of people have indeed become the victims of violence. In the horns are in general civil war, violation of human rights, suppression of civil liberties, abject poverty, famine, epidemics, population displacement. Displaced groups, female refugees in particular, are the major victims of such problems, especially Ethiopian women around the neighboring countries in Somalia, in Kenya, in Djibouti, everywhere. Female refugees are suffering more, In addition to what they share with other fellow refugees, they are exposed to gender, religious, and cultural humiliations, as well as rape. Actually, this is reported especially in Yemen. In Yemen, the Oromo women, especially, they are suffering from such type of harassment. Actually, such socio-cultural, religious, and gender problems were some of what forced them in the first place to flee their homelands, actually. These and other similar issues were the reason to relaunch HRL, Human Rights League, which was really formed back home as Human Rights League of the Horn of Africa here in Canada. Let me tell you something, how just we start human rights, just as I told. Let me just confirm again. Human Rights League of the Horn of Africa was formed in 2007 in Toronto in June 2007, Canada, by exiled members of human rights organization called Human Rights League, Israel too, originally from Ethiopia. Human Rights League of the Horn of Africa was established, making its main purpose to challenge the governments of the Horn to stop the human abuses of all forms. In 2.5 years we operated, that means since 2007, the Human Rights League of the Horn of Africa found the most big problem in the Horn of Africa is the human rights abuse committed to the asylum seekers by joint security forces from residing country and their countries of origin. The best example is in Somalia. For example, if an Oromo refugee or another refugee from Ethiopia escapes to Somalia, they cannot stay in Somalia or they cannot live freely in Somalia because the joint security forces from Ethiopia and Somalia, they are harassing them, they are chasing them, and they are killing them. This is what is happening before yesterday, in Puntland, Somalia, or Bosaso. People are really murdered. 4 people were died, and another four people were died because they have been given what do you call poisoned food. So just if you read my Human Rights League of the Horn of Africa, League 22, I not only one country, coming from the neighboring country in search of protection. In violation of Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Articles 13 and 14, which guarantees the freedom of movement and the right to seek and enjoy asylum in other countries, these countries fail to protect fundamental human rights of the asylum seekers in their territories. Instead, they intimidate asylum seekers by denying them even shelters, and in some cases, handing them over to the government of their country of origin. For example, many Oromo refugees were handed over by Sudan and the Djibouti government to Ethiopia in between 2005 and 2009. In those countries, human rights abuses against asylum seekers were committed by security agents, as I said, of respective countries. What we witnessed in the last 2.5 years as human rights defenders is the fighting against human rights violation in the Horn of Africa is not just a mere mere advocacy. It is a job of saving threatened and endangered lives of the innocent. Not only that, the job is so big and demanding. The extreme suppression, the denials of access to source of information and of the right of exchange information, above all, a silencing of civil society organizations, human rights groups, and the press agencies, especially in Ethiopia, makes the activity of monitoring, detecting, investigating, and reporting on the human rights violation extremely difficult. In spite of its multiple problems, Human Rights League of the Horn of Africa has done a remarkable job in the past 2 years. It has attempted a lot to cover and bring to light the human rights violation in the Horn of Africa, especially in Ethiopia, with very limited human and financial resources obtained from the members. Friends, I would like to bring to everyone's attention that all those works were accomplished by a voluntary Human Rights League of Horn of Africa staff members in diaspora and reporters in Ethiopia as well as in neighboring countries. Human Rights League of the Horn of Africa would like to express its deepest appreciation for their remarkable efforts and say thank you on behalf of their targeted pupils. This is the collective job to be executed collectively, but participation could be personal and in different ways. Human Rights League of the Horn of Africa is looking for support financially or in kind from organizations and individuals. Human Rights League of the Horn of Africa has come a long way, but much remains to be done. And as the only organization of its kind in the region, we are best placed to do it. We are the only ones placed to do it. Let us work together to make voice of those who are voiceless and languishing in the Horn of Africa prisons.
For who are present here with us, not only present, but involved in organizing this event. And they are the Oromo Christians Association of Toronto. They're really directly involved in organizing this event, and we are very grateful to them. And next is